Hello and Assalamualaikum, our beloved lecturer, which is Madam Mazatul. In this video, we will present about poverty by B40, M40 and T20. First of all, I want to introduce my team members, started with me, Nur Alia binti Yahya, Nur Akila Farisa binti Abdul Talib, Nazatul Hafizah binti Ahmad, Amirah Mardia binti Abdul Karim and Nurul Afika binti Kamaruddin. I will start with introduction to the poverty by B40, M40 and T20. When people or communities are deprived of the means of subsistence, they are said to be in a state or condition known as poverty. Family and individual living in poverty may lack access to adequate housing, clean water, wholesome food and medical care. It's crucial to keep in mind that poverty is a social state caused by a variety of factors, not only income. According to new research, the past 2 years have been extremely challenging for the world's poorest people. Unprecedented reversal in poverty reduction brought on by the epidemic are made worse by growing inflation and the consequence of the war in Ukraine. If the most pessimistic scenario come to pass, 2020 might rank second last in terms of the amount of progress made in eradicating several poverty dysentery, only behind 2020 when there was a real risk in it. According to the Economic Action Council, EAC, the pandemic has caused 6,000 M40 households, or at least 8% of Malaysian households, to fall into the B40 category. Followed by the data, this means to provide as a general indication to the income gap in Malaysia, with 40% of Malaysians classified as low income earner, 40% as a middle income earner and 20% as having the highest family income.
Research has been done by International Journal of Innovations in article called Does Income Difference Household Expenditure Consumptions? The research has shown that even when Malaysia's community household income level has been divided into 3 groups, which is B40, M40 and T20, it is also proven that there is an inequality of household well-being, which indicates the poverty level of the household. This discussion arises after researching and collecting data on consumption expenditure across the groups, with many contributing factors such as high cost of living, subsistence assistance by the government, fuel price instability and many more. The inequality of the household expenditure consumptions can also be shown from their food, clothing, transportation, health and education. These differences will determine how each household use existing earning sustainable consumptions. Research also stated that UNIDO addresses that the inequality has a significant relationship with poverty. Most Malaysians, especially B40, are struggling with the rising cost of living, fluctuations in market, fuel process and unstable Malaysian currency. Majorities claim that the driver of this skyrocketing cost is the implementations of the goods and service tax. That is why the household incomes management is needed for a wise spending regime. Due to budget constraint, households need to plan and prioritize basic necessities such as food, housing, transportation and healthcare. However, research also found that low-income households spend most of their income on basic necessities rather than unnecessary expenses, but they are still facing overspending. According to the research, about 20% of households of M40 with estimate income between 4,850 ringgit and 10,959 ringgit have also moved to the B40 group due to the economic ruin, impacted due to the government's failed policy in battling the COVID-19 pandemic. It is also shown that if a person meets their basic expenses such as food and utilities, they will spend on things that is more valuable to bring comfort to them, such as buying luxury vehicles. The total of expenditure on living goods will increase in line with the income earned by the household. To add more, the research also shows a study by Hazana Research Institute on poverty and household income showed that 35% Malaysian household earns more than 6,000 ringgit, while 64% earn less than 6,000 ringgit. However, almost 12% earn more than 2,000 ringgit or less, and these are the ones who have the potential to be exposed of having many unexpected risks in the face of high cost of living. It is crucial worrying for people who earn less than 2,000 ringgit because they are very exposed to various risks such as financial hardship, economic shocks, inflations, and others. To summarize this article, it is true that income differences cause different household expenditure consumptions. It is proven from the research that the household who earn less than 2,000 ringgit is the one who suffer the most for their financial. Most Malaysians struggling with the rising cost of living, fluctuations in market, fuel price and unstable Malaysian currency. This situation is worsened if the household have huge family to feed, makes the expenses cost to increase. This is also one of the causes that will increase the poverty rate in Malaysia. Income inequality has widened despite various of efforts to bring out more balanced regional growth and development. However, the effort seems to not be working because we can see wide gap between different income level, such as different educational level, employment, structure and expenditure consumptions.
So, I will explain about microeconomic theory, which consists of economic growth, unemployment and inflation. For economic growth, Malaysia has one of the most open economic in the world with a trade to GDP ratio that has averaged more than 130% since 2010. However, due to the COVID-19 pandemic that has hit the world, Malaysia has suffered significant economic losses, especially among per household. According to World Bank 2021, it stated that in July 2020, 5.6% of Malaysian households are now living in absolute poverty. Because of that, government make a lot of initiatives to help low-income group and at the same time help to cover the country economy. Thus, in the long run, as Malaysia approach a high-income economy, additional growth will depend less on the accumulation on factor and more on increasing productivity to maintain greater growth potential. Next is unemployment, where it given an impact to increase poverty rates during COVID-19 and affecting not just the B40 group but also the M40 group. Furthermore, unemployment can have an impact on the country's economy. A high unemployment rate signals economic troubles, whereas a very low unemployment rate suggests an overheated economy. And lastly is inflation that happened because of the often falling inflation rate is due to a decrease in cost that is contrary to the cost reduction or a decrease in demand that is contrary to full demand, with the high cost of living has also resulted in the poor being at the bottom of the pyramid of society and the economy further into poverty. Thus, the former and current caretaker government have acknowledged that there will be adjustment in social categories, with the T20 and M40 decreasing and the B40 anticipated to become B60.
The result of the COVID-19 effect research on household income in Malaysia for the year 2020 are presented in the Household Income Estimates and Incidence of Poverty Report Malaysia 2020. This study also contains an explanation of Malaysia's poverty rate for the same year. The analysis was conducted using information from the 2019 Household Income and Basic Amenity Survey (HNBA), which took into account a number of indicators related to household income, including average salaries and wages, employment patterns, sector-specific economic performance, household demography, and the value of government assistance provided in 2020. The primary sources of income, paid work and self-employment, both had declined in 2020 of negative 16.1% and negative 9.7% respectively. Next, from 7,901 in 2019 to 7,089 in 2018, the monthly household gross income fell by a negative 10.3%. Additionally, a fall of negative 11.3% was seen in the median monthly family gross income compared to 2019. In 2020, the median gross monthly income for household was 5,209 and 5,873 in 2019. Next chart to represent the percentage of household experiencing income decline and income distribution by household group Malaysia 2020. The rate of absolute poverty rose from 5.6% in 2019 to 8.4% in 2019. The percentage of people living in extreme poverty is predicted to rise from 0.4% in 2019 to 1%, affecting 78,000 families, which is 2019 equal to 27.2 thousand households. Furthermore, the highest percentage was 25.3% in Sabah, equal to 19.5% in 2019. Terenggana's poverty rate decreased by 5.9 percentage points to 12% from 6.1%. Besides, Kelantan's poverty rate increased significantly by 8.8 percentage points to 21.2% from 12.4% in 2019. Malaysia aims to join the 19 nations that have successfully made the switch from middle to high income status over the past 30 years, set by Victoria Kuaka in 2012. Chart 3 shows the incidence of absolute poverty by state Malaysia 2019 and 2020. The effect may only last a short. The pandemic spread is stopped and the economy will strengthen and recover. Government should play a role in mitigating the pandemic and boosting household income and the national economy. The study of the survey will go beyond the national and state levels, include administrative level as well. Lastly, the pandemic has been cruel to the poor, including those who have little assets and lost their employment as a result of movement control orders, said Kena Sinder in 2020.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I want to talk about related issue in newspaper about B40, M40 and T20. A news item examines Malaysian economic difficulties. Malaysia's middle class or M40 is losing pace after years as the economic majority. Nearly 500,000 middle income M40 households have dropped into the lowest 40% category due to the COVID-19 pandemic. 580,000 M40 households, 20% of the middle class were categorized as B40 by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob. The new poor M40 income earner are said to be barely surviving, with some falling into poverty. As the cost of living rises, especially in cities, middle class salary foundation of economic process are struggling. B40, M40 and T20 are Malaysian family income group. B40, M40 and T20 are the lowest, medium and highest income earner respectively. The lowest income Malaysian in the M40 categories may be worse off economically than those in the B40 because they feel neglected, especially by government financial assistance programs. Datuk Muhammad Hisham Muhammad, a member of Centre for Economic and Social Study (MAS) at IKIM, said that 20% of M40 families had turned B40 owing to the COVID-19 pandemic. The government previously prioritized B40 due to the growing cost of living and stagnating earning. M40 assistance has to be improved. Income increase is positive. He advised Malaysia to focus on high quality investments rather than cheap labour to strengthen the economy. To attract high-tech investors who can pay our workforce well, we need a clean and appropriate operation environment, he said. Inflation, the cost of living and statutory deduction like tax, zakat and social security contribute reduced real income growth and many may slip into poverty. He predicted the lowest M40 group will become urban poor due to inflation and financial obligation.
Next, we continue with the conclusion for this topic. There are a few reasons why it's critical to spread awareness of this frequently overlooked issue that is leading to an increase in poverty. People who are poor may feel more desperate than usual. This emotion might affect how one makes decisions and lead to a criminal act. Furthermore, malnutrition is frequently associated with poverty. Moreover, the high expenses of medical care may deter people from getting preventative care. Last but not least, people who are poor are subjected to a lot of stress. Over time, this pressure can have a severe effect on the mental health and can make pre-existing disorder worse. With this, there are also a numerous ways concerned people can assist the homeless or the poor. Volunteering at homeless shelter, gathering food and clothing for the less fortunate, and writing, emailing or contacting politicians all require little effort but a big influence. Making people aware of the problems surrounding poverty and having a conversation about how it does affect their life is one strategy to combat it and the consequences that come with it. By educating others about how homelessness, unemployment and poverty affect their communities, issues around these issues can be explored and solutions to end this difficult can be found.